Hi, welcome to episode 11 of the FSC Radio Podcast. This week we're sitting down with Anaïs, who is a third-year bachelor's chemistry student. Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hi, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Anaïs, and I'm 22. I come from Italy and France. And as you said, this is my third year in chemistry, and it's been fun. Yeah.
It's been fun?
Yeah.
How close are you to wrapping it all up?
I'm very close, actually. I have 2 more classes left, and then the thesis, and then I'm done. Yeah, I've managed to finish it all quite quickly. Yeah.
So what's been the structure of the program in the past 3 years?
Well, in first year, you start off both chemistry and chemical engineers are together, and you have like a lot of general like chemistry classes. And then already in second year, you are more precise. So like there's tracks you can choose, and depending on that, then you go more like specific into what you might like or not. And then you can always like change things up in like third year, for example, if you like minors for like specific minors or just classes in general. Yeah.
And what track did you choose?
Chemistry for life. So the more bio part of it.
Nice.
Yeah, that one.
My question sort of going into it, and I only had one burning question, was, is organic chemistry that bad?
I knew, like, everyone tells me this all the time, and I mean, I understand why people find like organic chemistry difficult, because like I can see it also, but it is complicated, but I enjoy it. So I like seeing all the different like mechanisms and stuff, but it is quite difficult, yeah, if you can't wrap your head around it.
Yeah, I mean, I had minimal chemistry practice in high school, and that was enough to tell me that it's not my path. But
Yeah,
in the slightest.
it gets complicated in at uni, but I guess if you like it, then it's great because you can see so much.
How come you like it so much? What pushed you to actually study it further?
Chemistry?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I started chemistry when I was like 13, and like ever since, like I just loved it. I don't know, something about the molecules and like the mechanisms and the way like they worked just like really like fascinated me. I don't know. Yeah, it was just genuinely like nice.
Nice. The logic of it, I guess, right?
Yeah, both the logic and just like, because there's always like so much like change, so like the logic sometimes is different, but yeah, it's really like, I don't know, I just really enjoyed it.
That's good.
Did you have like any doubts? Like, did you know like, chemistry from the beginning is something, or did you like, oh, maybe halfway I want to change to something else?
I did consider physics around like my last year.
But you said that you hate physics.
University physics. In high school, I really enjoyed physics, and I was really good at it in high school. And I was like, oh, why not? But then like I realized like I really, really enjoyed chemistry, and like I was actually like decent at it, good at it. So I was like, I'm gonna keep the chemistry track, which I'm glad I did, because university's physics is something else. But no, I did doubt. And like I had like some subjects like history that I really enjoyed as well, but I was like, do I want to like go into like a profession of like history? So I've always enjoyed chemistry. So I'm pretty sure like since I was like 14, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do chemistry, which is nice to know that early on. Yeah,
that is nice. Yeah, I toyed with history for a while as well in high school, and then the job prospects are abysmal.
True.
Yeah. So from the courses you've taken so far, both more specialized and general, which one's been your favorite?
Choosing one favorite might be hard, but
let's do one from each year. How's that?
Okay. I've always liked organic chemistry. So like that course, it's hard, and it can be like frustrating at parts, but like it makes it that more satisfying once you like get it and like you understand it. So I really enjoyed that, and I really liked the chemical biology class I had in second year. That was like really nice. I enjoyed like looking more at the biology side of stuff, so that was nice. And this year I've mainly done minors, so it's kind of hard. I haven't had that many like chemistry courses yet. Like I'm doing them now, but like I'm enjoying the ones I'm doing now as well.
That's good.
They're like very like specific to the track now as well.
And with your track, how do you want to take it further?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
I'm thinking probably of going towards the chemical biology side of things. So what I'm learning now in the track is like really useful, because it is really like in that direction. And I'm thinking probably of just doing a master's towards that. But
would that be something like engineering to some degree, or like some bio something or another?
It's more like genuine like chemical biology. It's like it's it's kind of far away from like engineering, which is kind of what I.
Whoops.
No, it's fine. It's I mean, you're gonna find a bit of like engineering and everything in like every like subject, but yeah, the chemical biology part is like further away from the engineering part than like other stuff. Yeah.
Anything more specific? Because chemical biology is also a huge.
Yeah,
field.
I mean, like that's what they call the courses, so that's mainly what I refer to. But like for example, like I'm doing like cellular chemistry or like catalysis, and like it's that kind of like like I haven't gone into like this because I'm still doing a lot of general courses.
Yeah.
So like that's why they still name them like chemical biology, but it's more like, you know, looking at proteins and like enzymes and stuff like that. I don't know.
Any reason why you wanted to go to, like, what's the motivation? Do you have like, because I have a friend who doing like this kind of in this kind of field because he wants to do cancer research, and then that is his end goal. Do you have something similar, or do you just like the process of it? That's why you want to go into it?
I don't have like a specific like goal because I'm so open to like trying so many different fields. I really find it interesting. I find the biology really interesting as well. So I was like, it's a way to mix like chemistry that I love with like really interesting like, and like in biology, like you often can go into stuff like exactly like drugs or like pharmacy, like that kind of stuff. And I found that really interesting. And I'm like, that could be like a cool job prospect. So it's like also there when I like consider it.
So with the sort of mix between biology and chemistry, is that some like the interdisciplinary aspect, is that often found in the program, or do you have to more sort of like seek it out by mixing and matching things?
No, I feel like just chemistry in general is such an like I always see it as like in the middle of like a lot of like different like subjects. Like you can so easily go into like more physics based chemistry or just like basic chemistry, or just like there's always like you can always link it to other stuff. Like it's gotten to a point where like now with track practicals I realized even more how like you were always going to find it mixed with other subjects. Like it's never going to be like pure chemistry unless you really go looking for like pure chemistry. So it's nice nice to have like those mix and matches of like different subjects.
And what are the other tracks of the program?
Smart material and I think it's smart materials and sustainable energy, but I'm not too sure.
Oh, nice.
I have to double check that.
It's all right. What I find it really interesting that like when I think chemistry, I think all or nothing. You know, you just sit and like write the funky little formulas all day, but you make like.
I wish.
That's the easy part of chemistry?
No. But I enjoy it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought like if that was easy and I found it hard, I understand completely why I hung the hat when I did. But do you think there's like a sort of special way of thinking that pushed you towards chemistry?
I guess I always I enjoy the learning aspect of it, and like you do have to have kind of like that logic to like go into science and chemistry, because like now I am doing more the biology side of it, but like once you get into it first, it's a lot of like, you know, like equations and like learning stuff. So you do need to have kind of like that scientific mindset. I feel like it is like a thing, like you need to understand, but like if you work hard enough, I'm pretty sure like anyone can like really get into it if they enjoy it.
Yeah. And how does studying look for you when you like sit down and like cram before, or not maybe cram, but you know, conscientiously prepare for an exam 3 weeks before?
I mean, it's taking like years of learning, but I do try to like work during the semester first to like actually like once I get to like the week or the 2 weeks before the exam, I have like my notes and I have like my Quizlets and stuff like that, depending on the subject, because for some like especially first year courses, like it's so much just like doing the exercises, and that's like mainly how I learned all of that. It was like you just sit down and you study the exercises and everything, and then like for other subjects it's more I sit down and I just like review what they're like the definitions, because it really just it depends on like the course. But yeah, I try and like I work like the entire day on stuff.
And how practical is the program, like lab work and stuff?
I would say quite practical. Due to COVID, I had complicated track practicals, but you have at least like twice, like 3 weeks, like in the entire year. So like by the end, you have like 6, like, or actually 5 or 6, depending. And I mean, I enjoy it. I feel like it's nice to like, it really like throws you into the whole like practical part of it for like 3 weeks, and you're like in it, and like it's really like so like you get submerged in it.
Yeah. And what kind of experiments do you do?
So many. I feel like they're trying to like teach you so many different like types of experiments that like you do like almost a new one every day, especially in first year. Like there's like the known like in like intense synthesis like track practical in first year where you're basically doing a new experiment every day. So
Jesus.
I think they're really just trying to like introduce it to the most experiments possible, and you just kind of learn. And then like also after, depending on like your track practicals, you learn like different kind of like specific experiments. But it's nice. Yeah.
What's been a really cool one?
I really like fluorescence. There's like
Yes.
I remember I had a synthesis experiment where like we would work with something that was like would become fluorescent. It was interesting to clean after, but because it was like the entire like column was like fluorescent, but it's really nice to look at.
Yeah,
And it's also like it gives you like almost the satisfaction that you can see that what you're doing works. Because usually in experiments you're kind of just like you have to analyze it or like test it to see if you have what you need or that kind of stuff. But with fluorescence, it's like, oh, it's happening. It's there. It's great. Yeah.
That's nice. And you mentioned, COVID putting a bumper in the plans. How did that affect, your bit of first year and second year?
Academically, for me personally, a lot. The first like 6 months of it, so like the second part of the first year was completely online, and like I was back home, and like it was really hard mentally. Like concentration was like impossible to find. So that was hard, at least for me personally. I struggled with that, and then like little by little, as like we came back, there was a bit more open stuff, and like being able to be back here compared to home, and like kind of like being able to a bit access the university library and everything, because I took full advantage of like the few seats they had open when it was still locked down. Like that like helped a lot. So like the second year was like a bit better, but like the first year was like a hit. COVID really was a hit. Yeah.
And how would you do labs online?
We're supposed to have a lab in the second part of first year, and like that got pushed back because they didn't even have it. And then like when we had it at the start of second year, so we then like had 6 weeks of lab instead of 3 because we had to catch up on the other one. And for some of them it was like we showed up like 4 days out of like the 3 weeks, and then the rest was like kind of like simulations online and stuff like that, because they couldn't like have us all in lab at the same time.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't have practicals, so I can't imagine like kind of a very important part of your education, right? Like the actual thing you do in physical form to like, be absent. But during lockdowns and stuff, did that kind of shift a little bit your perception of chemistry, because you had to like do it more theoretically, I guess, instead of like seeing the practical side of it?
Not really. I feel like it's because like it did affect the track practicals, but like it's not like we have like 2 months of track practicals like every like all the time. I was still used to the theory part, and then just it was like sad a bit, like like for example, like now I can feel like the like lack of like information I got from one of them, like it affects me a bit now. But like other than that, no, I was still like, yeah, it's the theory, and then just
going from there.
Yeah, exactly.
So with you being in your third year, what are you planning for your thesis? Loaded question.
It's a loaded question that I barely have any answers to yet, because we just got assigned to our labs. So I have yet to have my meeting with my supervisor, so I don't actually know what I'm doing yet. I just know that I'm working with the Vite lab, so I'm going to be looking more at that chemical biology, like kind of like lab, but that's all I know for now.
What would you like to do? Like in an ideal world, if you could analyze something?
Analyze something specifically. I don't think I have something specific I'd like to analyze. I think I just really like the idea of like, and I think I'm hoping this is what I'm going to do in this thesis, is mix both the organic synthesis part and the chemical biology part. So like I like the idea to start off synthesizing the molecule, and then like doing more the like how it affects like the biological like part, like proteins and enzymes and stuff like that. So I'm kind of excited for that. Like I'm hoping that like I can really like look into that and like discover like different ways, like I don't know, like
it sounds awesome. It really sounds very cool.
Any plan for after you finish your thesis and graduates?
well, the masters.
Masters here, or do you have any?
I'm
plan?
applying to multiple places, so here as well, which because like here it's like really good, so I'm definitely considering here. And I really like the fact that here they have like it's gonna be more open, the masters here, so they have like tracks like where they mix organic synthesis and chemical biology, which is very attractive to me. Yeah, I feel like it's like I've always been like torn between like the two, and then when I saw that here the masters had like a track where you could have both, I was like, I'm sold. Like, why? Like, it's great because you don't have to choose.
Yeah.
Do you want to be a professor in the future? Is this part of your plan, or you wanted to be in the industry?
I don't think I want to be a professor. I think I don't have the patience. But yeah, I feel like I'd like to maybe work in the industry because I'd also like to like change things up. Like I don't have like a specific job I want to do. So I'm like, it would be fun to like just like start off with a specific job and then like a few years in the future be like, oh, I'm going to completely change things up, go look at another aspect of like chemistry that I might enjoy. So I'm really open to options.
That's nice. I wouldn't have actually thought chemistry was so versatile, you know? Like,
I hear that a lot.
yeah, like what you see in movies are just people in lab coats being grumpy, and then it's, you know, the life and the joy is sucked out of it.
Yeah, that's such a like specific part of it as well. I feel like in chemistry, like you can go like to some like a lot. Often people are like, yeah, when someone tells me chemistry, it's just like the lab coat and like that, and I'm like, there's so much behind it. I feel like lab is like it's very like at university you find a lot because obviously like the research and like you can find it a lot, but there's so much, especially like I've seen firsthand, like I know people who studied chemistry who just have gone in so many different directions that it's nice to see. At least you're like, you have your options open.
Yeah, that's really nice to sort of not, you know, not only for outside pressure, but knowing that you actually have room to go and actually explore so many things is reassuring.
It's really nice.
Yeah. I'm actually curious about your minor.
Yes.
How, like, what minor did you do at first? So,
well, I did the Arctic and Antarctic studies together, yes, and then on the second block I did the astronomy minor.
Oh, you chose those because they tied in with chemistry, or you just wanted to break away and do something different for a bit?
I like the idea of kind of like, I feel like breaking away will help you like appreciate what you're doing even more when you come back to it. And I've always been also fascinated by astronomy, so as soon as I saw there was like a minor in that, I was like, yes, I want to do that. But it really helped, like going away from chemistry like really made me enjoy coming back to it even more, because you're like, oh yes, this is why I'm studying it, like I love it so much. And it just it confirms it. It's nice to like come back to it and you're like, yes, oh, this is great, this is what I love.
That's amazing. So did you think you were gonna like it as much as you do when you went into it like 3 years ago?
Chemistry?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. Ever since I've been like really young, as soon as I got like, cause like, you know, in high school and before high school, you have like all the science together. And then like as soon as in high school, like I started just like chemistry, I fell in love with it like instantly. So I guess it's always been in my brain. I'm like, I love chemistry, and like I was excited to like study it, and I still am. Yeah, I really enjoy it.
That's
it's
amazing.
like, even though sometimes it's like really hard and you're like, why did I study chemistry? But it's worth it in the end. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So you also have the hard days.
Oh, 100%.
Oh my God.
Of course. The days when you're like, why am I studying this? Like, it's so difficult, but it's worth it. Like, I don't know. It's also that mindset I was mentioning before. It's like when you finally understand something, it's so rewarding. And I feel like that's very common in chemistry.
But how do you get yourself out of that? Because that's like the mindset of, oh no, I suck at this, I'm horrible.
I would like to know if you know. I guess I just sometimes I either keep going, or I mean, asking friends really helps. Like I tend to often like ask friends, I'm like, do you know how to like do this or that, or like ask questions, like that usually helps. Or not, just like let it be and then come back to it like another day, and then suddenly you're like, as soon as you cool down, your brain is like, oh,
that's what that is.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Actually, since we're on this topic, I mean, you are on your third year and you're like, you know, towards the end of the degree.
1 foot out the door.
Yeah.
Literally.
Do you have any like advice, I would say, you know, to give new students, or just the version of you a couple years ago? Like if you know.
I mean,
What you have-
yeah,
yeah.
academically wise, I would say just always like just don't leave it last minute. Like the
Yeah.
you know the typical, but like it really worked. Working like I started doing a thing where I would work often like at the library. Like the library is like my savior personally. So that's where I can like concentrate most. Like at home, I'm like really bad at concentrating. So I would just like, always just say like find that like one place where you know you can like work or like concentrate. Always change things up because
Yeah.
it's difficult, but yeah, consistency is key. Like at the end of the day, it really is just that. Just work. Still though, like always enjoy your time, because if you don't like enjoy your free time or enjoy your time with friends, then you're gonna like
Burn
hate-
out.
burn out and hate the time you spend studying. So equilibrium and just
Equilibrium. Here we
Yeah.
go. The word.
You said it first. It's on the podcast.
yeah.
So if you were to like hang out with a bunch of first year chemistry students, what would you tell them it's a must they have to do while you're here?
Doesn't necessarily
It
have
doesn't have to be with
exact- yeah.
chemistry, no.
No. I was thinking. I feel like
Life. in
something I
general.
really like love, though it's like very typical from here, is the
food wall?
the food wall is just great. It's iconic. Like
It is
going
iconic, it
clubbing
is.
and then coming back like after, and like it's a must. I feel like that one like is a must because like it's just great. And then just I feel like just visiting also like around the city. Like I did
Yeah.
a lot of just like you go outside of the city and visit like smaller villages or like go biking. It's great. Yeah.
There's a really cool botanical garden kind of south to the city, which I guess I'm now giving advice for places to go, but I think in Haden it is absolutely, excuse me for butchering that, by the way, absolutely beautiful. I went there around this time last year, actually, and every time I get a chance to go, I go. It's like a 10-minute bus ride. You get there. The flowers are stunning. It's so quiet. So
I'm gonna write that down.
it's so
I'm gonna
nice.
remember that.
Yeah, and they have like student discounts as well, so you're not
Oh.
draining your pocket or anything. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just like the beaches, going
I've
to the
never
beaches.
been to the beaches.
It's so nice. Like when it's like really warm, like you just like it's a bike ride. But that's the great thing about the
Yeah.
Netherlands is that you can bike everywhere.
everywhere.
So you just bike to the beach with your friends, and it's really nice. It's like such like. As we're talking like burnout, like it's great for just like cutting like your day off and like going somewhere else, because you're always like at the end of the day you're always like around the university,
Yeah.
around the library, in the city centers, just like a change of like scenery.
Yes.
A change of scenery is great.
Yeah. I was on campus in the city center the other day and just passing by like the university building and seeing everyone sunbathing and just
Yeah.
having coffees outside. It was like a revival of my soul. It was beautiful.
Yeah, here like as soon as the sun comes out, there's like the couches on the like
yes.
street, and you're like, I love that. That's
Yeah.
you understand. After 3 years here, you understand why they do it. Like you're like as soon as there's some
Honestly,
sun, you're
yeah.
like, yes, please.
Yeah, I was lucky enough. I went home for Christmas this year, but last year I stayed like from September to July, and
God.
it was murder to not see the sun for so many months. And then at the end, like around this time, so March, and when the sun came out, I was stuck to the window for days, just
Yeah.
like soaking in all the.
And we're so like lucky right now.
Yeah.
Like, I think I've never seen a stretch of sunlight this long
almost
since
a
I've
full
moved
week.
here.
How
It's
how
been
is that?
longer than a week now, hasn't it? I feel like
I
it's
lost
been,
count.
I feel like it's been like 2 weeks at this point. I'm
It's
like, I don't
beautiful.
remember like a stretch this long of sunlight
Yeah.
since I like been here in first year, and
Yeah.
it's weird but great.
It is. It's a great send off. You know, it's a it's a semester to remember for you.
True, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's especially because it's like my last semester, and it's the first semester since first year that I've had like properly like on site.
Oh.
So it's-
yeah.
So it's kind of like
That's a nice little package.
goodbye.
You know,
yeah.
you go on your first block and then your last block.
Yeah,
and that's
exactly. It was like last time I was properly in class doing chemistry. It was first
year. That must be kind of weird to think about, though.
It was weirdly emotional at some point.
Aw.
I remember just walking back in and I was like, wow, like for some reason the canteen, I haven't been there since like first year. And then like when I walked back into it like a few weeks ago, I was like, wow.
This is emotional.
More than emotion, it was just weird also
Yeah.
because you're kind of like, wow, I haven't been here in so long, and now I'm like ending my bachelor.
Yeah, I can't even imagine that. That must be super weird because
It
like I
is.
started with COVID, so I
Didn't get the experience.
so I didn't like feel like I missed out on anything. But it must be weird to kind of have something for like 6 months and then stop it for a year and a half and then come back
Yeah.
to it.
especially because like my first 6 months I was like in a student house, so it was like I went from that to like being back home and like not seeing anyone.
Yeah.
And then now I'm back, but I'm like not in the same place anymore. So it feels like two different eras almost. Like it's pre-COVID.
Pre and
now.
post-COVID, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, glad we got here, honestly.
Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, I honestly was like, I didn't even know if I would like come back on site before like I even finished my bachelor. But
Yeah.
I'm glad I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Same with me. When I started, I was thinking of whether it's actually worth, moving out and going to a different country and doing all that. And then I think when things started to get bad in October of 2020, my mom was like, but do you actually like it? Like, is it worth you being there with everything online? And I was telling her, like, I cannot go back home. It's like, I got used to the routine. I got used to being on my own, to like studying in a uni way at the end of the day, right? So
the independence is something you just can't like no matter how much I love going back home, after a while like you have a different rhythm.
You do,
so
yeah.
it's nice coming back.
Yeah.
But like here it's great, yeah.
What I found super interesting is that independence that you gain reflects in everything. It's not just you doing your groceries on your own. It's like the way you talk to people, the way you approach things, it's just everything is because you're independent. You do it the way you want
yourself,
to. Yeah. It's great self-help chat this was at the end of the episode. Yeah. Well, I think we should start wrapping up.
Okay.
But thanks a lot, Anaïs, for coming to chat with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. It was a real pleasure to learn that not all chemists are sad.
No, we enjoy what we do.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you on the next episode of the FSC Radio Podcast.